This video is going to look at section 10.6, which is on the lymphatic system. And the lymphatic system is one of these systems that we don't pay a whole lot of attention to, but it's also extremely important for a number of reasons. And the lymphatic system, it consists of lymphatic vessels and the lymphoid organs, and it's closely associated with the circulatory system. So the lymphatic system then has three main functions. We have the lymphatic capillaries. They absorb excess tissue fluid and return it to the bloodstream. Also lymphatic capillaries, they absorb fats from the digestive tract and transport them to the bloodstream. And then finally, lymphoid organs defend the body against disease. So here are some of the structures that we will be looking at, in particular the spleen, the thymus, the red bone marrow, and the lymph nodes. So the lymphatic vessels then, they form a one-way system. So they begin just simply from a kind of a blind-ended vessel, which the materials in there travel only one way. So the lymphatic capillaries, these are tiny closed-ended vessels. They absorb excess tissue fluid called lymph. And the tissue fluid contains water, solutes, and cellular products. So the lymphatic capillaries then, they join to form lymphatic vessels that merge before entering into one of the two ducts. And you can see how extensive the lymphatic vessels are. They exist in pretty much all parts of the body. But ultimately, the left side drains into the thoracic duct, which empties into the left subclavian vein. And the subclavian vein, it just means that it's the vein that's under the clavicle or the collarbone. So that's from the left side. Then on the right side, we have the right lymphatic duct, and that returns lymph that's collected from the right side of the body into the right subclavian vein. And then the right and left subclavian veins, they both drain into the superior vena cava. So what happens is the lymph, it percolates through various lymph nodes. So the material, it travels through the lymph nodes, where a foreign material can be recognized by the immune system. And the movement of the lymph in the lymphatic capillaries is dependent on skeletal muscle contraction. And so the lymphatic system, it doesn't have its own way of moving fluid through it, not like the circulatory system, which has the heart, which pumps the blood throughout the system. In this case, the lymphatic vessels are in close proximity to skeletal muscle, and so just the contraction of the of muscle, that's what causes the lymph to travel through the lymphatic vessels. And then we have one-way valves in the vessels, which prevent the lymph from flowing backwards. So it can travel only in one direction, and again, that's because of the valves. So edema is a localized swelling caused by accumulation of tissue fluid, and it's not been collected by the lymphatic system for some reason. And so this can occur if too much tissue fluid is created, or if not enough of it is drained away. And it can cause serious situations such as damage to the tissue, or even death. And so the lymphatic system it's very important that it's functioning properly. So as far as the lymphoid organs go, we have the lymphoid organs. They contain large numbers of lymphocytes, which are the white blood cells. And there are two types of the lymphoid organs. We have the primary and we have the secondary. The primary would be the red bone marrow and the thymus. And this is where the lymphocytes develop and mature. Then we have the secondary lymphoid organs, and these would be the lymph nodes and the spleen, and this is where the lymphocytes become activated. So here, again, it's indicating where some of these structures would be found. So we have the spleen there on the left side of the abdomen. Lymph nodes are contained throughout the body, and usually we're not even aware of them unless they become enlarged for some reason. Usually that happens just with a cold or a flu or sore throat or something. Um, and then once that's over, then the lymph nodes go back to their original size. But chronic enlargement of lymph nodes can indicate something more serious, especially if it's not associated with a cold or a flu or sore throat or something, and that needs to be investigated further, as sometimes it can indicate perhaps leukemia, so that definitely needs to be investigated. And then you have the thymus and the red bone marrow. So the primary lymphoid organs then, so the red bone marrow contains a network of connective tissue fibers along with the stem cells, which differentiate and produce the red blood cells and the white blood cells, or the lymphocytes. And so lymphocytes, they begin development in the bone marrow, and the B lymphocytes, they begin in the bone marrow and then migrate to the secondary lymphoid organs to mature, which would be the spleen and the lymph nodes. The T lymphocytes, they begin in the bone marrow, and then they migrate to the thymus, where they mature and differentiate. So the thymus then, connective tissue, it divides the thymus into lobules, which are filled with T cells and supporting cells. And the lobules are lined with epithelial cells, and they secrete hormones called thymosins, which are involved in the differentiation of T cells. T cells that react to the body's own cells, obviously these are not wanted in circulation, so these undergo apoptosis, which is a programmed cell death. So that means then it's only the T cells that react to foreign molecules that leave the thymus. Then the spleen, it consists of blood vessels and sinuses, where the macrophages remove old and defective blood cells. On the diagram, it shows the red pulp and the white pulp. You don't need to worry too much about that. That's just simply white pulp is where most of the lymphocytes are found. Red pulp has a bit of a different function, such as taking red blood cells out of circulation that are beyond their useful effectiveness. So we would focus mostly on the white pulp. So it the spleen then, it also contains small areas of lymphoid tissue where lymphocytes then can react to foreign invaders in the blood. Sometimes the spleen needs to be surgically removed due to trauma or disease. Person can live without their spleen, but in some cases they are more susceptible to certain kinds of infections. So the secondary lymphoid organs then, first of all, we have our lymph nodes, and as we mentioned, they occur along lymphatic vessels, and connective tissue then divides the nodes into nodules, each of which contain B cells, T cells, and a sinus. So as lymph passes through the sinuses, the macrophages, and so these would be the white blood cells that can devour foreign things in the blood. They engulf these pathogens then in the lymph, and cancer cells can enter the lymph nodes and lymphatic vessels and move through to other regions of the body where they produce secondary tumors. And so this is often how cancerous cells can spread throughout the body. And often as well, when cancer is detected, the lymph nodes around the tumors need to be investigated for any evidence of cancerous cells that have seeded within the lymph nodes. So this looks at the lymphatic system, and as mentioned, again, it's a very important system, and the fluid throughout the body and its distribution is dependent largely upon this system working effectively.